Welcome out to another episode of the Pelican Sports Report, and I gotta believe this is probably the first one of these that we've done, and I know there seems to be like there's a lot of these first that we do, but track and field is certainly a big thing in our area, and so when the opportunity approached us to get one of the best coaches, best around, every name popped up the same thing, and it was Coach Shelley Warren. And go, welcome.
Thank you.
Look, tell us, those that don't know, including me too, your history in track and field, from an athlete side of it, from when you've got into coaching, and just take us back through it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I ran track at Buckeye and ended up running for a little bit at Northwestern. It was very, very short-lived between that and basketball. Then I got out and started coaching at Philadelphia Christian Academy a little bit back in the day.
Indeed.
Yeah, and then I started at Buckeye.
Coach Warren has been a part of your family for a long time. I understand she coached your mom too.
Yes, sir.
What do y'all share stories about that?
Yeah, we do sometimes. Yeah.
What's some stories that she gives you about the early years of it?
Like my mom, or
your mom about Coach Warren.
She always says that she always pushed her. She was a great coach and things like that. Definitely like her teaching me some like good drills and stuff like that. I wasn't really like familiar with a lot of drills, but she taught me a lot, and it definitely helped me improve. You can put in that hard work, and you can definitely get there.
Then went to Ash, and then Menard.
All right. So your times in that, you've been in the coaching side of it. How long?
Since '94.
Since '94. So
yeah.
A couple of years anyway. Your time with these athletes, what is it that keeps you rebuilding these programs? Because it looks like starting a program and developing is kind of your go-to place.
Yeah. I think that's a bit of a challenge for me. I don't like going to walking into a program that's already there. It's just I like, just like whether it be Menard or Northwood, they learn it your way. There's really no other way.
They don't have to unlearn it.
They don't have to unlearn it.
Right.
Yeah.
She never let up.
Right.
She always had something for you to do. I have a tattoo of her handwriting, and it was always keep your nose to the grindstone. So it was always something different. She was always pushing you to do something different and work hard, and it really did prepare me, because she always had me working out or doing different trainings to prepare myself, and it really helped. No, when she asked if I would help, I was of course grateful. I mean, she gave all her time to me, so I might as well give a little bit of my time to her, because it's such an honor for a coach well known like her to ask you for help, because that means you're clearly doing something right and you did learn from her. Don't give up too soon, because even in college I was still learning. Like, I threw from 7th grade to sophomore year in college, and there was always something different to learn. Like, you can't learn it in one day, and you sure as heck can't learn it in 10 years. Like, there's always something to keep learning.
You talked about your program over at Northwood when you got out there, and I think your first group, there were, you said maybe 5 of you or so?
Yeah.
And right now, there's how many?
I think there's 55-ish, give or take. Yeah.
And it's just you, track, field events, male, female events on there too. Mm-hmm. How do you carve up the time for it?
Well, I have to work year round to do that.
Right.
And then we have certain days where we do disc, but more than anything, coaching athletes that come back and help me, that's huge.
What was it says, I want to run, then I want to jump, and then I want to keep running some more? What was it about the hurdles that said, this is what I want to do?
It was actually Coach Warren.
Okay.
That's what she first introduced me to when I did track.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I wasn't too bad at it for me to keep doing it, and I started loving it. So.
How open are you to those suggestions when she comes and says, hey, look, this is something that I think you'd like to do?
I was very open,
right.
Very open. And then sometimes she'd make me run the 300-meter hurdles, which I had to be very open about. But yeah. But after I got it, she kept on like she's a really good coach. So, well, we joke a lot.
Okay.
Like, we have that type of relationship where we kind of joke a lot, and like it's fun to just travel with her. Like when we went to LSU,
Right.
just being in the car with her and talking to her.
Special award just recently. Tell me about that.
So it was one of my coaches at our school signed me up for Positive Athlete,
Mm-hmm.
and so I won kind of like it's sort of like we do more than just being an athlete,
Mm-hmm.
like giving back to the community, service hours. We're just more than athletes.
Okay, so let's dive into that a little bit. What is it that what do you think that you look at that you do that qualifies you for that?
I think giving back to the community is huge.
And that's a big point because we hear that a lot. All of these lives that you pour into, every one of them they light up and they smile when we talk about Coach Warren. They do that. Who's somebody that poured into your life that fuels your passion for what you do?
Mm-hmm. Well, when I started out, I was strictly basketball. I was a
Right.
basketball coach.
Right.
And I did my student teaching at Ash under Joe Morrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, such a passion for the sport, but more so a passion for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody that's ever competed for Joe has had that same thing, and I think that's just been an inspiration for me.
I didn't know nothing about javelin either, because Coach Warren, she wanted me to do it, and I did it. So I got better at that, progressing each and every time. And my ninth grade year, which was this year, I made it to state. I didn't make it to state last year. It was hard getting past regionals, but this year I came back. I did better at regionals, and I got to state.
So, and I love the bond and the relationship with Coach Warren. It looks like she's really poured into a lot of lives. She comes up to you and says, "Hey, I think it's time to try this too." Is there ever a point you go, "What? Something else?"
No. If I wanted to do it, I would probably keep doing it, because she pushes people to their potential and she lets them do that. Because if you like it, you can still keep going. If you don't like it, then it's really nothing.
And there are so many, I guess, I will say that the track folks don't get the publicity that, say, a football player does or a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
This seems more individually driven while still competing for a championship on there. But you look around, there are a lot of track and field athletes that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see in somebody to say, you know what, you need to come try this?
That's interesting. I see athletes that are naturally driven.
Right.
I think that's what I look for first before I look at their athletic ability. And it's just there. I mean, you can see it in their personalities. You can see, hey, they're going to go the extra mile. I think I'm going to pour into this girl. The seventh grader that you interviewed, had tried out for several teams and not made them. And, but I seen, she was straight A's in the classroom.
Right.
The very few sessions that I had with her, she was locked in.
Right.
It's that personality type.
So the first thing that you started out with, Coach comes to you and she says, "Hey, I'd like you to go take this pole, run down here, go upside down and flip over that bar." And you said, "Huh? Is that something?" You were like, "Okay, we'll go do that."
Yes, sir. I was a little nervous to do it, but listen to the coach more and all that.
What's your goals as you get older?
I'm looking forward to getting better in my events and to be able to make it to state inlay,
I gotta believe there's a lot of that in your future. There.
I know Coach Warren is a very lovely woman. She's very dedicated to our team, and she's done a lot for all of us that I can say she did not have to do.
Right.
I remember one day, this is not track related, but I was at school one day and I forgot one of my bags at the house. She checked me out of school and brought me home to get my bag. And it's a lot of stuff she'll do for us that she just doesn't have to do. And it really makes you realize how she cares for us so much. And the whole standpoint of if you wanted to start running track and you want to figure out what you do, it's more of just what you're capable of. So I guess if you're one of those people who isn't that fast, but your endurance is nice, then I feel like you could be a distance runner or something.
Let's talk to us about some of the athletes that are now graduated and gone on, those that come to you. We talked about the pole vaulting. Cammie comes to you. Let's talk about her first. What's some of the things you saw in her, or what you see there?
Well, Cammie was easy. Cammie was a softball player,
Right.
and I think she was playing travel ball, if I'm not mistaken. And whenever I approached her dad and her mom about, hey, I think she should be a track athlete, and I think they laughed at me. They were like, "What?" I mean, and I said, "Well, you just need to trust me on that."
Right.
So long history with her though, so I was able to watch her compete in gymnastics because my daughter did gymnastics as
Right.
well. So I got the ability to see her compete in the classroom. I knew she had straight A's. I knew she was driven. I got to watch her in gymnastics. I knew she was driven there. I knew that she was going to be a great track athlete.
So I started out in gymnastics. I did that in elementary school, and then when I got to Menard, I obviously tried out for cheer.
Right.
And Coach Warren approached my dad, and he was like, "Gymnasts make great pole vaulters. Like, she really needs to get into track." And my dad's like, "Absolutely not. She's about 70 pounds, 4'9". She's not gonna be a pole vaulter. I mean, pole vaulters are tall and strong." She's like, "No, I promise you, like, it's gonna come." So I went down to New Iberia one time, trained, and since then I was in it. I pole vaulted through junior high, and in 8th grade I got into hurdles, and then I had an elbow injury, and then I got back into pole vaulting my sophomore year, and then I won a state title every single year, so my senior year.
What was it about pole? Was pole vaulting probably the one thing that you just liked the most? Did you have a favorite?
Pole vaulting, I think, is the most detail oriented. It's cool, it's niche, no one does it.
Right.
So obviously, like, I watched Allie at my time at Menard, and so it was really just there. Like, we have the pole vaulting culture there. I mean, I think we won a state title every year we had a pole vaulter entered when I was in high school. So I mean, it's just like that. I also really enjoyed hurdles. It was more of like, that was, I feel like, a lot more work per se. Like, speed is not something that really comes naturally. So like running, and then she made me get in the gym as well. So lifting weights, and then we were always on the track every day. So I come to love a lot of it, and yeah.
But your experience with Coach Warren, what was it about her that keeps you coming back?
Yeah, I think it was, you come out to your track, and some coaches, they're kind of just there, but she really wanted the best for you, and she really, really wanted us to work hard for ourselves and earn it for ourselves, and not just, going out there and being a mediocre team when she knew we had greatness in us. So we would come out to the track, and we'd run and run and run, and sometimes we just keep running. But in the rain, in the hot, like, we never stopped. If it was cold, we were out there. I mean, indoor season, it's freezing. Outdoor, it's hot, but we're still out there, we're running. And but at the end of the day, she wanted best for us, and she always told us we could do more.
If you're looking and you're talking to somebody now that has an interest in it too, and somebody's telling them don't do it because of this reason, and you turned around and did it because of that reason and were successful, what do you think you'd tell somebody?
I think we'll just stick with it. Obviously, it's never easy. I mean, I can't remember all the cuts, bruises, times I banged a hurdle, but I got up and kept going. Like in 8th grade, I was running my first hurdle race, pushed the hurdle down. That's a disqualification. And then the next year I got even better. And then I remember my freshman year in the 100 hurdles, I clipped one of the last ones, and I did awful. And then the next year I come back and I placed on the podium. So I think it was always just coming back, and even after she left Menard, Coach Warren came back, and she was still coaching me and still giving me all the advice. So I just think if you put your mind to anything, it's going to be tough. Nothing's easy in this life. So, but if you really, really want to improve it, you can prove it to yourself.
Track and field, Coach Morrow and I have talked about this, the track coaches are not as plentiful as basketball coaches, as softball coaches, as some of the other sports. So it's very important for us to pour into the young ones, because I have maybe 5 years left, 6 that I'm gonna. So it's very important that this cycle continues.
I think in 5 or 6 years, it's going to be hard pressed for folks to let you step away from it. It seems like you got a lot of great ones. Audrey Tarver comes to mind of those, and we hear her visit with us about how she was fifth or sixth, and then turned around and spent some time with you, and she goes on to win 3 state titles at Grace Christian.
Okay, I think I started in around 8th grade, I believe. I was just going to practice like normal. My friend convinced me to try 100-meter hurdles. It was a good idea. So I think I won state. I didn't win it. I got 6th my 8th and my 9th grade year. And then I went to Miss Warren. She helped me I drove up there to Natchitoches. She coached me through everything just to get me started. In my 9th grade, going to 10th summer kind of thing. It was just like a summer training. And then I believe that year, that was my first win of state, I think. I'm not positive. And it just continued on. It was 10th, 11th, 12th. I just kept with it, and she just kept coaching me, and it just ended up perfect.
What changed there that year from sixth place to spending the summer with Coach Warren that motivated? What did she teach you there that said, oh yeah, this is it?
She taught me the 3-step. That was basically it. We went through like a whole ton of hurdle drills, like a lot. She just basically got my 4-step to a 3-step. My time was went to a 20 from a 16 just in 1 year. That's how much help she was to me.
At that point, and you stayed with Coach Warren there too, was it harder to pick up things, or was there one thing you would tweak between this summer and that summer?
I was really shabby with hurdle technique and coming out the block. So every time I came to practice, we'd just work on maybe 2 specific things at a time. And I just keep coming back. We'd change what we're working on. And since I didn't get to see her that often through the school year, she would just give me stuff to do, I guess. Just hurdle lessons over text, just send her videos, kind of tweak what she sees.
Right. Well, that's great. And that's one thing that we've heard is that she's been accessible just to everybody, even if it is just via text or something like that too. Kids that are starting out, you encourage them to make a phone call to Coach Warren.
Yes, I do. She helped me a lot with my technique and just being there for me during the 3 years I was with her.
3 state championships at Grace Christian that you won. This most recent one was not long ago on there. And the joke that was out there was that you were going to dispose of your shoes after that for a while. Tell us about that.
Well, they are unlucky. I hurt my hip in those shoes.
They're unlucky?
They're unlucky.
You won state with
I know.
them 3?
They're lucky now.
Okay.
But I kept getting hurt at regionals or district or just the minute before state.
Right.
It happened 3 years in a row. So I was like, I got to get rid of these shoes.
After this, what do you do to give back a little bit too?
I'm coming with her to just most of her hurdle practices and just helping startup people who don't know any hurdle technique pretty much.
All right. Well, I think that's awesome, and certainly appreciate the time that you spent giving back to this community and what you've done on there. Congratulations on a tremendous career.
Thank you.
So one session with Audrey,
Right.
It was very clear that she wanted to be there.
Right.
And so I tried to keep communication primarily with her. By the time they're, sophomore in high school, sometimes it's important not to communicate with parents, but the kids, they need to take responsibility. And, for me to be able to text them and say, did you do what you were supposed to do? Because if I'm not seeing you, if you come back here, we're back at square one, so, it's very, in the beginning with athletes, it's very cut and dry, and then their personalities come out, and I think this whole segment is probably less about coaching and more about, loving kids. Kids have to know that you care about them. If they're going to do anything for you, they have to know that you care about them.
And my coach, her name's Coach Pace, she brought it up to me, and I did it during junior high, and then I got my freshman year, and I didn't really have a coach, honestly. And so when I moved to Northwood, I told her told Coach Warren that I did track, and started from there.
How was it then with a coach of the stature that Coach Warren has, being able to pour into you and bring you along in it?
Honestly, it was like one of the best things that's happened to me. Like I thank God every day that I met Coach Warren. She's done more than coach me. She's, almost become like my second mother. At home practice helps so much because you're trying to get a technique down, and doing it for 30 minutes during school isn't going to help you. Like, take from your coaches. That's what I've done. I took Coach Warren. It's like homework.
Right.
So it's just good to muscle memory, even watch videos.
Congratulations on a great career, and thank you. We move over to Northwood, and you've got that group, and you're building the program that's up there, and everybody that we've talked to today and that we will talk to today just says the same thing. Coach just asked me. How is that approach when you go to somebody and say, look, I think that you're gonna be great in this, and they go, oh no, I don't know about that. What is it that in you that you can spot that in these kids?
There it was, they have to buy in. That whole thing is they have to buy into what you're selling.
Right.
For me, I came in at a good time where, my daughter was at LSU.
Back at all of the athletes that Coach Warren has touched, and I guess it's a little closer to home because that's Mom.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about how growing up in that household was.
I feel like sports shaped my life. Like growing up, I just remember going to her practices, like sitting in on her basketball practices when I was like, before I could even remember. And then as I grew up, like just trying out different sports, she always pushed me and motivated me to be better. And I really wouldn't have had the career I had without her. So.
She had friends. I got them to come back and do like sessions.
Right.
Alexis Guillory came back with her, and the 800-meter runner. I had several different. The shot put thrower has been from LSU, and so they got the LSU athletes to come back and help them do like clinics. Well, that helps a buy-in a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. So that they got to see a little bit of that. And then, just for example, Reagan said, hey, I think I want to do summer track. And I'm like, well, let's do it. So it just kind of entailed like, going through the summer. And then other people saw Reagan's success. They see, I could go through everybody. There are people that look up to Alea,
Right.
Stacy. One of her big things is, do you think I could ever beat Alea's record? It's all about, having those records.
Right.
There wasn't even a record board.
Right.
There was no records at Northwood. No one had ever kept up with
Wow.
it. So I had to dig to find records. And then, like every time, Reagan broke records, then Alea broke records, then Stacy broke records. Then, I could go on and on. And there's been some tremendous athletes at Northwood.
Well, what was the process that got you to Northwood? Was it, hey, I'm at Northwood, let's start this program? Or it's, hey, Coach Warren, come to Northwood and start this program?
Well, I'm an adaptive PE teacher.
Okay.
And when I walked into the doors, Alex Goodling said, because I had taken a break.
Gotcha.
Alex Goodling approached me. He said, are you going to stick with coaching? I was like, I don't think so. I want to take a break. And then, it was going from the private school to the public school, and I'm in my last few years of retirement.
Right.
I thought, you know what, this may be worth it for me to get back. And of course, getting closer to retirement, we decided to retire in Natchitoches, and it's like the halfway point. I'm about 15 minutes from Northwood.
Gotcha.
It all started making sense for me to coach at Northwood.
Look, I love it. And this part of it may be a difficult question. It can be Northwood, it could be Menard, it could be some other time. Is there a setup that you look at and you say, you know what, this is why I did it, this was special?
Gosh. Well, there's not a school. There's just individuals. I can, like I said, go back to Shaylee's mother, which was a special athlete, Sissy Gates, and there was just impacts. Kayla Blood after that. Kayla, ended up moving in with me for a little bit, just because it was just, she had gone through a hard time, and then seeing where she came from to what she was able to do to where she is now. Honestly, I think I think it's a way out for a lot of people. I think sports gives them a way out, and it's you know, I'm going to say this. I don't have many talents, but it seems to be what God has called me to do, to help kids that need me. And I 100% think it's just a calling.
Look, and that's what too many people get lost in. They want to do things that they're passionate about instead of being passionate about what they're called for. And again, that's such a testament to what it is that you do. And there's no wonder that you're successful and have been successful at there. Some folks that have made an impact in your life, I know.
Okay. Kayla Blood was just a girl that walked into the doors at Buckeye High School when she was a 7th grader and had never done a sport before, was kind of hard on her luck, like just her life was, you know, not good at the time. And she was able to, we taught her how to hurdle, and there's so much to say about Kayla, but she ended up breaking the school record, then the state record, then the composite record. And then we tried her in the 300 hurdles, and she did the same thing in the 300 hurdles. You know, just went on and just did great things. And like I said, now drives monster trucks. She just can't get out of the competitiveness of it, but she was just a special athlete and a special person to me.
How do you go from track to monster trucks?
Just, I mean, she got into UFC at one time as well, and she was very good at that too. So,
wow,
yeah.
I love it. Nobody messed with her when she's
but
driving her
but
truck.
it's interesting, you know, because you know during the Kayla Blood time, you know, my child was very young, and I didn't find out till later in life when she was getting interviewed. They said, what has driven you to this point? And she said, I heard my mom say one time that Kayla Blood was the best athlete she ever coached. And she said, so my goal is to be the best athlete she's ever coached. And I never knew that. We had never even communicated that before. Yeah.
Absolutely
so, yeah.
love it. Well, that's a tremendous story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
That's what I want to say about the track community. Thank you for having me on. This is humbling, but truly this is not about, it shouldn't be about me. It should be about track and field.
Right.
And so with track and field, there's just some people I know. I've talked about Joe Morrow. This is where it started. This is where I got the idea, hey, I shouldn't be charging for lessons. I should be giving back to the community. He never did. He not only helped my child, I've watched him help athletes for years and years and years. So I want to first and foremost say that it all starts with one person, and that one person for me has been Joe.
Awesome.
And then, you know, some other role models, Wally Smith, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Wally was so special because he did so much more than coach.
Right.
And I had the opportunity, my daughter was able to run for him and got a state championship. And I just loved every little thing about the program that he had there. And from, you know, his testimony with his daughter,
Right.
you know, it was huge. How he just never, you know, he kept her name, her legacy going on, and everything about him was Bible based.
Yeah.
Everything, and so my child got a chance to have that instilled in her, and that was tremendous. So I mean, she got that opportunity as well. So Wally Smith has been an inspiration, and then you know, the track community is special in that I can call Joe, or I could call Dan Chrisman and say, Dan, I need you to work with a shot put thrower.
Right.
You know, they're hearing the same voice over and over again.
Right.
And Dan will never turn me down. I can call Coach Free and I can say, Coach Free, can you help me with these block starts? I don't know what they're doing. They're dragging their toe too long or whatever. You know, he and I can brainstorm. I called him about the 4x1 exchange zones. Like, hey, should I tweak them a little bit? Stephanie Robichaud, when I started at Menard, I knew when you have a pole vault program, you should really just have a pole vault coach because it's a dangerous sport. It's not something that you can put them, hey, I need you to do these drills and then go do something else. You have to be attentive.
Yeah.
So Stephanie Robichaud was instrumental in that, and she still, you know, I'll call her and say, hey, can you come help this one or that one. And yeah, so the track community is just it's unlike any other sport where, you know, you may have basketball rivalries and you find that the track community is just there to help each other, you know.
And I've seen that a little bit too. It just seems, and you mentioned some of the greats around here, Coach Chrisman, Coach Free, and it's always about the kids and helping them get better against themselves.
Yeah. And, you know, you have David Williams, who is, you know, Judge Williams, and I've seen him help several athletes from different schools. And, you know, Lyle Guillory helped several athletes. You know, Holly Pace, I know that Reagan mentioned Holly. But, you know, all these people are just all track people, and then we're all just helping each other. And it's not really a rivalry. You know, Stephanie is still at Menard and still helps me. And I don't know what the new division did, but I mean, there's a likelihood that one day we'll be in this, but no one cares is what I'm saying. We're just all in it for the kids. Yeah.
And look, I absolutely love that. You talk about Judge Williams, and of course his kids doing great things the way that they do. Had his daughter on the show, Noelle, and just phenomenal young athletes. And parental involvement, it just is so key.
It's, you know, I would say if you looked around at and this isn't all sports, whether it be softball or whatever, that parental involvement is, when you see athletes that are going to the next level, their parents were involved somehow, some way, you know. And so it seems like, you know, whenever I said the athlete has to want it, you know, it's a very, very slippery slope there, where does the parent get too involved, not involved enough? I think it's more important for the parent to just say, hey, does my kid want this? And if they do, I'm going to give them the tools that they need to go to the next level. But I'm not going to want it for them.
Yeah.
And
that's huge.
It's huge. And, you know, someone asked me, what is the most important thing you did with both of your kids? You know, like how were you able to maintain a good relationship with them after coaching them? And I'm going to say this to all athletes, even the athletes I coach that are not my own kids, but they feel like my kids, is, you know, never ever should a kid feel like their worth has anything to do with their athletic performance, ever. Track and field is the end of the year, and it's very important that you're getting kids from other sports. So you have to have coaches that cooperate.